Upfront and Outspoken with Bob Williams. If you love the Constitution,
man is not free unless government is limited.
if you love freedom,
As government expands, liberty contracts.
if you believe in personal responsibility, if you believe America is still the greatest nation on earth, then get ready for an experience you'll never forget. This is Upfront and Outspoken. Here's your host, Bob Williams.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag, rule their red, white, and
And of course, this is Upfront Outspoken. I'm your host, Bob Williams, with you on this Thursday. On Skype, and we dropped the call a few minutes ago, is Bobbie Bland. Now, Bobbie has a fundraising effort that I 100% endorse. It's called Feeding the Less Fortunate. And I want to bring Bobbie on to talk about it. And for anybody that wants to help, and I really encourage everybody, please do so. Go to GoFundMe.com/H08D as in dog RK. Good morning, Bobbie, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Bob. Thanks a lot.
Now, tell me a little bit about what Feeding the Less Fortunate is all about.
Well, what Feeding the Less Fortunate is all about is what we do is we're a community organization. It's nonprofit. What we do is we collect money and funds throughout the year to feed people during Thanksgiving, holidays like Christmas, Easter, just get them meals and stuff. Christmas time, we try to get presents and supplies for the kids. For school, we try to supply school clothing and school shoes also. For the ones that can't get uniforms, we got a sign-up sheet where they sign up the sheet and give us the kids school sizes, and we go out to the uniform shops and pick them up. We're also trying to incorporate this transportation thing to get these parents back and forth to Medicaid appointments, doctor's appointments for the kids, help them out with these things that they can't do for themselves. So we're reaching out to different...
No, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
We're reaching out to the different communities, asking them for help in each and any way that they can help us, because gas is high, and the way the economy is right now, everything is very high, so I can't do it on my own. Me and my team, we need as much help as we can get.
Now, Bobbie, I noticed that you yourself are based out of Atlanta, and I would think that the community there. I'm not originally from the South, but I've always known that the people in the South have always banded together, especially when it comes to helping the less fortunate. How difficult has it been for you and your organization to get this message out that, hey, come on, guys, pitch in and help us?
About 3 years ago, when I first created this, it jumped off fine. Everything was great. It was wonderful. I got endorsers, people funded it, and everything turned out fine. About last year, it didn't do so good. This year, someone told me to create a GoFundMe account, and it might do a little better this year rather than going around doing raffles or whatever, try to get the money funded up. So somebody suggested to do a GoFundMe account, and that would help out. But actually, this year it didn't turn out. I wound up spending about $1,800 of my own money this year for Thanksgiving alone.
Wow. Now, Bobbie, the intent of the organization is extremely a very worthy cause, and like I said, everybody out there, I do encourage you, please go to Bobbie's fundraising event. Again, that is at GoFundMe.com/H08DRK. In fact, I've got the website right here in front of me, and I encourage everybody, please go out and make a donation, help Bobbie and his crew, get this done. I'm looking at some of the pictures that shows you feeding people, and this is
They snapped the picture of the feeding a little girl. I didn't even know they snapped that picture. I was like, wow, you guys are slick.
So that's you handing her the plate.
Yes.
Now,
I didn't even know they snapped the picture. I really don't do too many pictures. But one of the ladies from my Helping Hands team, she snapped the picture, thought it was cute. So.
Well, she did a very excellent job. I must say she did a very excellent job. It does get the message out because it affects everybody. Anyone that's less fortunate. And you're right with the cost of things today. everybody's got to pitch in and help out. And once again, I encourage everybody. This is a very worthwhile cause, and I encourage you, please help Bobbie and everybody else make a donation to this. Now, as I said earlier, I also, when we were talking off air, and I kind of want to get your impressions of this, is I've seen on your Facebook page that you are kind of politically active, and I want to get your impressions of what happened in Ferguson, and then again with the very similar no indictment in the Eric Gardner case in New York. What, as a black individual yourself, what are your feelings about both of these cases?
I think it's a tragedy. I believe that Gardner case where the guy was choked to death, I think that was a tragedy. I believe there was more that the police department could have done. I believe that when that medical examiner came out to assess the situation, she should have known that the guy's pulse was either threaded or weak, or there was no pulse when she checked him. They're steady telling that guy to get up, he's all right. And from my understanding, watching the video, he could not breathe, and he was not breathing.
Yeah, we've heard in the video. Yeah, we've heard in the video itself. Eric Gardner 11 times told the officers he could not breathe.
Yeah, and it was an illegal chokehold.
Right.
I've studied law. We're not allowed to use chokeholds like that.
Right. In fact, New York City Police Department policy forbids that. But what's disturbing to me, especially in the Gardner case, is you have a video that actually proved this officer not only you could say murdered. But I was going to kind of be more polite about it. And yet well, like I said, the grand jury returns a no indictment, and my concern is that when it's going to come to Eric Holder's office, they're going to be held at a higher standard to bring any kind of a federal charges against this officer. Do you see that Eric Holder will say, okay, we do have a case?
I believe so. There is evidence. There's evidence of the case. There's evidence that the guy was illegally choked. There's evidence that he was begging, saying he couldn't breathe. There's evidence that he didn't get immediate medical response to it that he should have. There's all the evidence there that points to guilty.
Now, I want to take you back to Ferguson. We know Michael Brown, he was killed by Officer Darren Wilson. Wilson has since resigned from the police department. Do you think that the subsequent actions of the people in Ferguson to basically riot got any message across, or do you think that what happened is a bad image towards what should be done?
I think that the riots is a bad image toward what should be done. If you guys are going to protest for Mike Ferguson, you guys should do it peacefully in a verbal way instead of tearing up people's stuff. That just makes you look bad. It makes the black and whole look bad. It makes people in whole look bad. Like, you tearing up stuff in memory of someone. That's not letting them rest. That's not getting justice for them. That's just causing more crime, more things going on. It's not justice.
Now, if you were in Ferguson right now, Bobbie, what would be the one message you would want to get out to to that community? Given the fact we're getting close to the holidays, and these businesses as well. What would be your one message that you would like to get to the people of Ferguson?
Stop the violence. You're not going to bring Michael back with all the hatred acts and all the acts of vandalism. All you're going to do is cause yourself more problem, more pain, and you're going to cost yourself money over the holidays. If you really want to honor Mike Ferguson, go out there, get some fundraising going on, get kids off the street, go out there and start some kind of Big Brothers program if you really want to honor him. Other than that, stop all the violence.
The thing that we've been hearing from Al Sharpton and others is that and once again, I want to inform everybody out here. I have
Al Sharpton and Farrakhan, all they want to do is try to get money out of this. This is just a public thing for them. This is just publicity for them.
So you think that what Sharpton and Jackson did by going to Ferguson was more of a publicity stunt than actually helping aid the community?
I know it was. It's more a publicity thing. They believe in, how can I say, the violence of the protests is what I believe. They implant in the minds of the youth, so try to mainly the blacks, that white guys are against us. It's our time to stand up, and that's not right. It's what they're trying to implicate into the mind. And I believe it's a publicity thing for them, to be honest.
And well, the one other question I have for you is we've heard, like I said, we've heard Sharpton, we've heard the underlying tone of his voice, and we've also know that because of the fact of these businesses being destroyed, it's going to hurt the economic base.
Martial law.
Excuse me?
They're going to call martial law into effect.
Wow, that's.
Yeah,
I'm stunned by your comment. Why would you say that?
Because they've already called the National Guards in. They're already calling them in. And so the next step is martial law. If you look over history and look over time, that's been the steps over history when this all began like this. It started with riots. It started with the police in the street. It started with the National Guard coming out to assist the police, and then it began with martial law where they put curfew on the street.
So, in your opinion, what would be the one thing that needs to be done right now to start easing the tensions to pull this military presence out of there?
People need to just calm down and just get peaceful. Be a peaceful protester. If you're going to protest, be peaceful with it. You have the freedom of speech. Don't be violent with it. That's the problem. The violence is the problem. You're not helping anybody with violence. You're causing more problems.
Now, with this situation with Garner, do you think that's going to intensify the potential for violence?
Oh yeah, that's well known. You already know they're just waiting on that.
This is the first time, ladies and gentlemen, I've had an individual on here that's that's this point blank. I mean, I'm a little set back on this because Bobbie's being so very point blank about it, and I thank you for being very opinionated about it. This is a definite pleasure for me as well. The other thing I need to ask you, in reference to the recent, like I said, with the Gardner as well as the Michael Brown, we've heard a lot of others within the black community say that it's that the white individual, the white cops, are trying to suppress.
Thing about they're always trying to put color on something when it's not about color. There's black cops out there doing the same thing white cops are doing. You just only complain about it when white cops do it to you, and it's wrong. Black cops are out there doing the same thing, beating up people, choking people, crooked. They just only publicize it when it's a white cop doing it to a black guy. What about when the black cop does it to the white guy, or the black cop does it to the black guy? Why doesn't it get publicized?
So here's my question to you: how do we hold our police, no matter their race or gender or that? How do we hold them accountable so that the incidents regarding no indictments against these officers, and you did bring up a very interesting one regarding that it does happen on the other side. In fact, there was one in 2 years ago in Mobile. But how do we hold our police accountable? Will the body cams be the solution, or is there more to it that needs to be done? And if so, what would you recommend?
I believe that the police should go through the same things that we went through in the military. We have a very strict policy on before we can shoot to kill. So I believe they implement that within the police department. There will be less shootings by officers. Also, they should probably go through a training course when they draw, when they should put the thing on the trigger. They should go through courses or whatever to get themselves updated every 3 months or so that they can always have the knowledge of when to fire the firearm. They got some of these officers out here that has firearms, and they haven't even had the knowledge of when to draw down or been put in the position to know when the steer kicks and when to think. So they're just out there without the proper training with these guns,
Now,
and a lot of these cops are just shooting.
Now, the next question I have for you is, it seems that every time that there is a officer-related shooting, they're throwing it in front of a grand jury. In your opinion, is that the proper way to do this, or should a special prosecutor be called in to investigate?
I think a special federal prosecutor should always be called and investigate. But anytime a police officer is involved in the shooting, there should always be a special federal prosecutor to come in and investigate from a different state or somewhere outside that jurisdiction. That's like McDonald's trying to investigate themselves for food, for their food poisoning or whatever. It's not working like that. It's like McDonald's doing their own health inspection.
And we were finding out that, from my point of view, is you're right. I think a federal special prosecutor should be called in immediately, or some prosecutor not associated with that state. And I agree with you on that 100%. Now, we've only got about 4 minutes left, Bobbie, and I definitely want to get back to your fundraising effort. Now, the goal, according to your fundraising page, is only $3,000, and I'm sure that will.
We try to work with a small budget. Like, we try not to go too high with people to get them to fund it too much, because we feel like it's our responsibility since it's our organization. But we do reach out to the public for help every now and then when it gets too hard. So we try not to set our goals too high, so everyone can just go ahead and fund something into it to kind of get it started.
Now, when people donate, make the donation to you, are you offering them any kind of incentive for, let's say if I donate $50 or I donate $100? I know some fundraising events, have some incentive. I have this coded raffle ticket thing that's in place that I'm actually implementing now. I'm actually online trying to get it going. Where if you donate at least $20 to $50, $20 to get you one raffle ticket, $50 gets you three, and the raffle tickets can range anywhere from a dinner for two to a gift card to a shopping store, to a store or something like that. Now, what
so
kind
that's
of?
Actually,
I don't mean to cut you off there, but what kind of reaction have you been getting so far from the fundraising event?
Everybody loves me. Like, they're happy when they see me walk the street. They're like, "You're that guy that feeds people." I'm like, "Yeah." And some people ask, "Can they volunteer?" And I let them know, "Yeah, I don't mind if you volunteer, but you have to be polite to the people, or you have to let them know you cannot be rude to anybody that comes wanting service or wanting help. You can't be rude to them. You have to be very nice to them, the same way you would be nice to yourself."
Now, the question I have for you, the other question I noticed in your fundraising event, you're looking for clothing, you're looking for school supplies, gift cards and all that. Where would people bring those to? Because I know there's going to be people, around the country that are like, okay, I know this is a local event.
I have a mailing address for the central place where they can ship items. I have a mailing address where it gets processed.
Okay, go ahead and shoot that across.
Okay, the mailing address is 1330 East Waldburg, WALDBURG Street, Savannah, Georgia, 31404. And you can address it to the Bobbie Blue Foundation.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Please give Bobbie and all of his crew over there a helping hand, because this is the holidays, and people know there's going to be a lot of people out there that are less fortunate than you, and they do need your help. Go to Bobbie's website, the fundraising event. It's called at GoFundMe.com/HO8DRK. Make a donation. I don't care if it's $1, $5, whatever. Bobbie, one last thing. Yeah, exactly. One last thing before we have to end this. What's the one message you would like to get out to people, in reference to this fundraising event?
Well, you guys, I thank you guys for spreading the word. Anybody that helps out, I appreciate all the help that you do. Anybody that comes out for any of our fundraising events to volunteer, I most definitely appreciate you for that. Anything else can just be addressed to our website, BobbieBlue30248 @yahoo.com.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Get out there, support Bobbie, support his effort, because like I said, this is the holidays. There are people out there less fortunate. There are kids that definitely are going to go hungry without you, or school supplies, clothes, whatever you can help Bobbie out with. Even if you want to volunteer, get a hold of Bobbie. I encourage everybody out there. Bobbie, once again, thank you for coming on here. I'm going to ask you to stay on Skype with me for a couple of minutes. Everybody else, you know what that means. It's time for me to get on out of here. Stay tuned, because coming up here at the bottom of the hour, none other than Ed Till will be with you until 4 o'clock this afternoon. Until tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., this is Bob Williams. Take care of yourselves.